Hello, podcast listeners. We're talking about some new media. So after this episode, you might want to fire up your old screen and watch some Happy Gilmore 2, maybe a new episode of South Park, or hit the cinema. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
Tucker, there's been a lot of new media that has come out recently, and let's talk a little bit about some of them that are making some headlines. Now, I know that you haven't had a chance to get out and see Superman, and you haven't had a chance to see Fantastic Four, so I won't get into those.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I am very close at the time of this recording. I am very close to being mostly healed from shingles, and so pretty soon I'll be able to go and sit in a theater again.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're mostly healed, right? Mostly. Any scarring, do you think, from your shingles at all?
I don't think so. Not from mine. I mean, the scarring sounds like it happens if you are like scratch on it really, really bad. And I was able to refrain from doing that for the most part.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So I don't think I'll have any. Plus, I hit it with antivirals really soon, and so that is supposed to really help just minimize the chances of things like scarring and other complications. So I think I'll be fine.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's really good to hear, right?
Yep.
So, but it does mean that you've had a chance to take in at least some of the stream from home type of content that's come out recently.
Yes, I
Specifically,
have.
You watched the episode of South Park that is being covered by major news outlets everywhere because it has to do with the ongoing CBS, Paramount, Viacom, President Trump situation.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about it.
Well, so here's sort of the sort of more general thing is that Paramount currently or has had okay, let me go back a bit even earlier than that. For the past couple of years, Paramount and HBO have been in a lawsuit over the streaming rights to South Park. Because of that, South Park hasn't been able to have standard seasons like you would normally have, like a 10 or 12 episode run maybe for a season. So they've been doing these sort of like specials. This kind of all started during COVID and stuff as well. So Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who own South Park, have been in this sort of ongoing have all these legal issues that they kind of attribute to Paramount, right? But Paramount has the rights to their streaming currently. They settled with HBO or whatever, and they're trying to do this other merger. I forget the name of the company they're trying to merge with.
Skydance, which was started by J.J. Abrams, I believe.
There we go. Thank you very much. Well, in the current climate, to have a merger of that magnitude approved, you have to have it approved by the FCC. And the FCC is controlled by whichever administration is in power. Currently, it's the Trump administration. And, they've been apparently, dealing with them behind the scenes. The stories have leaked out, and that Trump has done this with a number of different media organizations, is that unless you basically pay him a bribe, you will see issues come up with your FCC licensing. Deals you want to see go through won't go through, yada, yada, yada. There was the recent announcing of the cancellation of Late Night with Stephen Colbert, which is seen by many, although it's not necessarily something you can draw a direct line to, but is seen by many as part of the sort of bribe payoff deal to Trump, because Colbert has been such a big Trump critic over the years.
Very outspoken.
Now, there's all sorts of reporting from within the industry, certainly from within Paramount, they were claiming that they were losing $40 million a year on the show, which may or may not be true. We don't actually know that. We do know that of the late night shows that are out there, Steven was ahead in the ratings of all of them. So he was the most popular, was getting the biggest audience per evening viewing or whatever from everything. So whether or not the show was actually making money, we don't really know. But it certainly looks like this all kind of happened at maybe at Trump's request or what have you. So there are pressures happening. It happened the same with 60 Minutes, which is also owned by Paramount, right? So they got dinged and ended up paying, quote unquote, settling out of court, which I personally will editorialize and just say it was a bribe. It's what you have to pay Trump for him to not block your stuff. Anyways, so South Park is in these negotiations, or South Park is trying to, sign the new deal with Paramount, who I guess must have first rights of refusal on streaming or whatever. So they signed a deal with Paramount for $1.5 billion to be paid out over the course of 5 years, where for the next 5 years, Paramount would have exclusive streaming rights to South Park's library, right? And so,
and let's go back just real quick. This is between the two people who actually own this completely. Like when they signed their deal, their original production deal, it's amazing because it's rare that someone actually owns the product completely.
Yep.
And so they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. If you're negotiating with them, you're between a rock and a hard place.
Right. I mean, because they have the ability to walk away. They own it completely. They have FU money, and you can't have it without them. Right? There's just it's not possible to have it without them. The things that get them held up are, I'm guessing, exclusivity and contracts for certain time periods and yada, yada, yada. Anyways. So they sign this deal with the South Park creators signed this deal with Paramount. And if not the next day, it's like the day after, they release their first episode of the new season. And they not only skewer Paramount, the company, by name, and CBS and all this other stuff, but they go harder in the paint than I have ever seen anyone go through multimedia at Donald Trump. Not necessarily because they're trying to make a political point about his policies in general, but as a big fuck you to him and Paramount for all of this, right? Because their merger is not yet done. And so if it's true that Trump's FCC was saying like, well, hey, listen, you have to do XYZ for us. You can't allow this kind of criticism to happen on your platform, blah, yada, yada, yada. And then the very next day, the most gratuitous, explicit like, I cannot fucking believe. Here's okay. So we understand like the kind of the politics surrounding it, right? The context of this, the ability that Trey Parker and Matt Stone are uniquely in a position to do because of who they are, because of their ownership of South Park, because of its value as a streaming property. But here's another thing that this has how this has really surprised me. I don't want to talk about the episode too much itself. I don't want to spoil it because you can just go and see it, right? You can go and watch it. It's an episode, so it's like 25 minutes long. But my other takeaway from this whole situation is that I cannot believe it's 2025 and South Park is giving me yet another holy shit, I can't believe they did that moment. And they're the only, I mean, maybe they're really Beavis and Butthead had some shock value to it, but at no point did I ever kind of go, oh my God, I can't believe they put that out there. But South Park has had a number of moments like that for me. Scott Tenorman's parents getting killed and cooked into chili was one of them. The Christopher Reeves fetal tissue episode was a holy shit, are you serious? They put this on television, right? And I just can't believe I'm experiencing again. It really is bringing me back to like an old time and an old place, like in my memory.
It's nice when you have a situation like South Park, which has become such a behemoth that they can challenge anything, right?
Yeah.
And you do feel like balanced isn't the right word here, but like you do feel like everything is fair game with them,
Yeah.
right? Their parent company. I wonder if, their deal must include the fact that like we get to make whatever we want and you just have to release it.
So here's the thing. So here there's still open questions about what is kind of going on here, right? Because what I will say is that the last segment in the episode is an AI video that
Okay.
was made by South Park Studios. And the whole conceit is that after Donald Trump has sued South Park, they settle with him, and besides having to pay him $3 million, they've also agreed to make pro-Trump PSA messaging. And so then it cuts to their first PSA. And
Okay.
it says 1 of 50. Okay.
One of
They're
50.
1 of 50. And they're doing 10 episodes a season for the next 5 years. So what they're saying is that basically we can expect for the next like 5 years, potentially, that every episode of South Park is going to be some like hard, in the paint, viciously like I cannot believe they're doing this AI generated promo material about Donald Trump.
I do find it to be quite interesting. Like sometimes the things that they do decide to skewer on South Park surprise me. Right. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm like, good for you to pick this topic, but like, I'm kind of surprised by that if I'm, not gonna lie. So now, interestingly enough, while you're watching this thing that has, actual social impact, I watched something that was just the potato chips of movies, right? Like salty, greasy, not good for me, but I had a good time. Like I enjoy it. I watched Happy Gilmore 2.
I would love to see Happy Gilmore too.
Do you like the original Happy Gilmore? Like, are you a fan of the Adam Sandler films from the 90s?
I am a very, very big fan of Happy Gilmore in particular.
Okay.
So like, I think, there's good and bad in the Adam Sandler catalog. Most of it is not my cup of tea. But I would say with Billy Madison and with Happy Gilmore, you've got kind of a 1-2 punch of like what it felt to me was its peak. But Happy Gilmore, from start to finish, it's so goofy. It captures what Adam Sandler was able to do on screen so well, that it's my favorite of the Sandler verse. So the idea that we're back with a sequel and you've got everyone, right?
There's an interesting piece that I want to bring up about Happy Gilmore in particular, because I watched Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison back to back the other day. And one of the things that I enjoyed about Happy Gilmore that I've obviously seen, but I've never really thought that much about, is the fact that like Happy is just a really good guy, right? Like he loves his grandma, he loves old people, he's doing this because he believes, that she should get her house back. He's, he loves hockey, and there's just something about how kind of nice he is and genuine, and and it's not like he's mean in Billy Madison, but like, he does some off-color stuff in Billy Madison that makes you go like, oh yeah, I don't really want to be around this guy that
He's
much.
far
right?
more juvenile.
Right. And even like when he is talking to when he's talking to the other golfers, he's showing up, he's like hi, just like it's sort of like, can I be your friend? Can I hang out with you?
Yeah.
And Happy Gilmore 2 is interesting in the fact that they take this character who at the end of Happy Gilmore seems like he has everything that he needs, and we find out that life doesn't work out that way for everybody. And I have a feeling that Adam Sandler's real relationships with professional athletes who did not end up, playing as long as they thought they were going to play, or made bad business decisions, and had to give up on things that they loved and wanted to do. I think that influenced this script a lot. Certainly family, like his real life family members are in this movie, and that kind of plays out nicely. Ben Stiller, why hasn't Ben Stiller been doing more stuff lately? I really missed him, and like I missed him when he picks these roles where he gets to kind of be unhinged. Like you think of the character he played in in Happy Gilmore originally. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good.
Give me a cup of shut the hell up.
Hell up. He goes, "You will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep." It's so good. And then like the way his voice changed, like, "Hello, Mr. Gilmore. What an impressive trophy."
Oh God, the thing I'm most excited for is Chris McDonald though.
Yeah,
because Shooter McGavin is such a is a comic villain played to perfection.
Yep.
I think. And I mean, he's amazing in everything else he does. I love him in Dirty Work because he's so good at playing that smarmy guy.
Right. But, and that guy who tries, like, everyone, like, is really good at convincing you that he is philanthropic and nice.
Yeah.
But he's seedy.
But he can also, he understands as a performer how he has to play into the joke to make the hero look good. And I always think of, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. And Happy goes, you eat pieces of shit for breakfast? And McDonald's reaction to that, realizing that Shooter has stepped into it now.
Well, and because he kind of like, he stops and he's like, he realizes like what's been said, and like, no. Okay. I didn't mean for us to take this way, but like I have put in a request for Christopher McDonald to be on our podcast, because he's coming to Fargo.
God, that would be awesome.
And he's coming to Fargo to come to he's gonna like making a special appearance at a Red Hawks game, and I think he's making an appearance as Shooter McGavin.
God, that's so good.
Which is gonna be great. Let's talk about his career just a little bit, because I do believe that Christopher McDonald is one of those like character actors who might be a little unsung for how great that he is.
100%. I agree with you. 100%. I'm looking up his cast list or his career right now, just because I know what I've seen him in, but I also know there's far more I have not seen him in.
Right. I mean, this guy has been working steady for over 40 years, right? And I would say that the first thing that kind of catapulted him into major stardom would be in 1991 in Thelma and Louise. He plays Thelma's shitty husband. And he gets kind of like pulled along with the FBI agents as they're tracking them down, and they're like, "What, you don't know, like, you don't know your wife's eye color?" And he does such a good job. He also has an amazing mustache in that movie. And then he goes out, like, he shows up in the movie Dutch, which is another movie that I don't think gets enough love. Don't forget, he was in Grumpy Old Men. He plays Daryl Hannah's shitty husband in Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, that's
I think he's got like one scene. Like he's so
good at being a bad guy. He's so good at it.
He's so good at being a bad guy. And then he also has this timeless quality. Did you ever see the movie Quiz Show? Oh, Tucker. I think you should see the movie Quiz Show. It's from early 90s, but it's directed by Robert Redford, and it's about a 1950s television game show that is rigged. And Ray Fiennes plays this guy on it who is getting like, but in it, Christopher McDonald plays the announcer of the game show. It is out of this world. It's so good. It's so good. And like, I hope that movie had Academy Award nominations. I don't know if it did, but like Quiz Show is one of the better movies, I think, that like came out of the 90s that a lot of people just didn't end up seeing.
Oh,
Um,
he did a voice on Regular Show for one episode.
Oh, there you go.
Wonder if Toby ever crossed paths with him. His filmography is huge. I'm only on
It's
2014 and it's massive.
Like he's in the movie Fair Game with Cindy
Kung Fu
Crawford.
Panda, Legends of Awesomeness.
See,
one
there
episode.
You go. He does Happy Gilmore. He's in Celtic Pride. So at one point, people are like, "Oh yeah, he's a good comedian." He's in the Leave It to Beaver movie. He plays Ward. He plays Beaver's dad. He's in Flubber. Flubber is where he plays like a really great villain as well.
Yeah, that's right. Oh God,
Uh-huh.
Flubber brings me back to Horace Mann Elementary School as well, because I was a crossing guard, and I remember Steve Tollefson, who worked at your high school. I believe,
he did. He was a
Mr.
amazing
Mr.
custodian.
T. He treated all of us to go see Flubber one time in the theater.
That's awesome.
Us
I'm
crossing
kind of
guards.
jealous of you.
Yeah.
Then he does dirty work. He shows up in The Faculty at like with a small role in The Faculty as Elijah Wood's dad. And he's funny because, at one point he's got this thing where he's kind of turning over Elijah Wood's room, trying to see if he can find drugs.
Uh-huh.
And like he pulls up the mattress and like finds like the porno, like a couple porno magazines. And he's like, oh yeah, boy. And like he says something that is so cutting to Elijah Wood that I'm like, oh my God, if my dad ever said that to me, I would be like, nope, I'm done. Done. I'm running away.
I'm trying to remember what it is. He has a 1 episode credit on The Sopranos. I'm trying to remember what he was.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
was he something with the movie? Like
it's
was he kind of playing himself?
It's a 2007. So I don't know what season that would have. I'm going to try to backtrack and find this here again, because I've just been going down his filmography in IMDb, and in 2007 he has a Sopranos credit
in 1999
as Eddie Dunn. Who is Eddie Dunn?
In 1999, he ends up voicing a character in, I think, one of the greatest animated movies of all time, The Iron Giant. He plays the like government G-man who's like investigating, this crash. And if we get him on the pod, I want to talk to him because he does something with his voice there that's really good, where he's like, "Hey sport, how's it going, camper? Hey slugger." And it's so good. Like he does such a good job. He ends up, he's worked with Darren Aronofsky. He ends up in the movie 61, which is about Roger Maris right here in Fargo. So, this guy works and works and works, and he's really good at the stuff he does. And he's appeared in so many amazing like movies. He's done so many, like he's done the voice work. He's done, he's played the villain. He's played comedic relief. He's played the idiot. Like he just does everything. Like in Quiz Show, he's this really well put together like 1950s television host. It just is really awesome, and I'm so excited that he's coming here. So you're excited about seeing Shooter McGavin back on the screen again and seeing what he does in Happy Gilmore 2, which I just watched.
Yeah, and also now that I know he was in Sopranos, because I found the episode. It's in season 6, and it's in the episode called Stage 5, and he plays a guy named Eddie Dunn, who is Christopher's AA sponsor. And so they just have a conversation in a diner. And it's just they have a conversation about like addiction and recovery, and that's it. That's his whole part of The Sopranos. But so yeah, listen, if you're on even a second of The Sopranos, just for that alone, to me, you are royalty. Let alone being also Shooter McGavin.
Well, and so did you watch Beverly Hills Cop 4? It's technically called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, but the Netflix Beverly Hills Cop movie from last year.
I have not seen Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay. What? Really? None of them?
Correct. Yep.
Oh, they're fun movies.
It's my great shame.
He technically brings back Shooter McGavin in this movie last year. Like he makes a cameo, and they don't say it's Shooter McGavin, but like it's Shooter McGavin.
Okay.
Like in it. Like he's just listed as golfer. Also,
Really?
Without a doubt, he's on one of my all-time favorite shows right now. The thing that like I can't wait for new seasons, and that's Hacks.
Mm.
And he plays the like not the owner, but like maybe the managing director of a casino, and he's good in it. He's really good in it. And he and Gene Smart have this like good back and forth together.
God.
So yeah, here's the thing. If you told me that he was a billionaire, I'd believe it. If you told me he lived in a double wide trailer, I'd believe it. If you told me he was a cop, I'd believe it. If you told me he was a meth dealer, I'd believe it. This dude can do anything.
So he was on an episode of Home Improvement. That's stardom
There you
right
go.
there. That's stardom right there. Here basically he's someone who, imagine what kind of like an Oscar vehicle you could put him in to sort of shock the world.
Oh, but okay, here's a weird question. I know everyone would probably love to have that one big role where they get to do, whatever they want and be whoever they want. But is there a world where you're just happy stealing every scene that you're in? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that he is, but like maybe that's the joy, is like being able to do stuff like go to a Red Hawks game, right? Like I don't know. I don't know. Like the level of celebrity, like I don't want to be Sydney Sweeney famous, where people want to take my bath water and put it into soap and charge, like $500 for a bar of that soap. That is too much for me. But
Right.
but I also, like you're like, okay, do you want to be Harlan Williams famous, right? And be like, oh, I remember you from that movie, and then like you're like, and weren't you also in this? And constantly having to tell people like, nope, I wasn't in that movie.
I would love to be just enough so I had enough so I didn't have to work anymore. But I could
Yeah,
still have a private life.
Isn't that the tough part of this though? Is like you
Yeah.
have to make enough money so that you can continue making that money, and part of
Right.
that is having to spend to have that lifestyle, and so you end up in a cycle. By the way, I had my first direct Josh Duhamel in interaction with last Sunday.
Did you come into physical contact with him?
I did.
Was it at the Matt Acree show?
No. It was at a restaurant in West Fargo near your old apartment.
Oh,
and
yeah. Okay.
we made reservations, and then we walked in. There were literally nobody else was at this restaurant. And I was like, oh, okay, thank God we have a reservation. And so we sat there, and it was a friend's birthday. And as we were just finishing up, they spotted him and his wife, Josh and his wife, were coming in, and they sat at the bar, and everyone was too afraid to be like, oh, like, I'd love to get a picture with him, but like, I don't want to bother him. And I was like, I'll go bother him. So I went up and I was like, hey, I'm sorry for interrupting, your evening. They weren't eating yet. If they had food in front of them, never, not in a million years, but they were still like looking at a menu. And I was like, it's my friend's birthday. Would you mind taking like a quick photo? And he's like, sure. And he was very gracious and very nice to this group, gave them some time. And like, turns out they know some of the same people and stuff like that. And then they were like, do you want to take a picture? And I was like, no, thank you.
I'm something of a celebrity myself.
I was like, I don't know if you listen to local radio.
But my biggest heartbreak for the musical Downtown that I was trying to make happen, falling through, was that we didn't get to make our Josh Duhamel jokes with Josh Duhamel, which I really wanted to do. But that's okay.
That would have been fun.
God.
It's our friend Brent wants to do one of his movie nights and show one of Mr. Duhamel's movies, and he's like, well, what should I show? And I was like, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what about like one of the Transformers? And I'm like, no, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. It's a perfect romantic comedy. And it's something that, like, look at the people who are in it. They all have gone on to have like pretty massive careers. Like, do that. And I think, I will say this. He was very gracious, and he is wearing a hat that said Gallant on it. And the next day in my Facebook feed, I saw an ad that he's in where it's a testosterone product that he's now like the face of.
Nice.
And so I was like, that is the level of famous I don't want to be, where I have to
Yeah.
wear a hat with a product.
And
on it.
especially because the hat is all about getting your dick hard.
Well, I mean, probably, but I think there's other things that testosterone can do. Actually,
It's
get
all
this,
a variation of it, though.
right.
Every river empties out into an ocean.
I had a very long conversation with a guy recently. Actually, like I was out doing a thing for the radio station, and this guy was like on the commercials I was cutting with him. But he was asking me about how things were going, and I was like, oh, things are going pretty well. And he told me, like, he just offered up this story about how he had been kind of lethargic, and he was like, I wasn't sleeping great, and I was doing this. And so someone had recommended for him to go get his testosterone tested.
Right.
And your testosterone is supposed to be like a 900, right? Or let's just say that. But when his came back, his was 100.
Oh,
and
damn.
One of the things that they had asked in the intake was like, are you able to get and maintain an erection? And he said yes. And when they came back, his doctor was like, you lied on this form. And he's like, yeah, I did. And so he started taking, he goes like, there's two ways you can do like this testosterone like things. Like, you can get a shot with it, or you can have this pill. And I was like, oh, what'd you do? And he goes, well, the pill is like in your butt. And I was like, oh, it's a suppository? And he goes, no, they make like an incision.
What?
Put it into the incision. And I was like, wait, shut the front door. And apparently this is something that like women are seeking out, because it's like right now. And I was like, that is horrific to me. No, thank you. No, I don't want any cuts near my butts. That's, I should put that on a t-shirt. No cuts near my butts. And but so he said like he said like within 3 months, he goes, I felt like my old self again. And he's like, I feel great. And you only have to go in like once every 4 or 5 months and get this shot. And he goes, eventually, hopefully the idea is that the body gets back to producing the testosterone it needs.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I think a lot of times with men's health, when it comes to something that is supposed to be, like your virileness, your masculinity, it gets swept under the carpet, and men don't like to come forward and talk about it, and they're probably not having these conversations that they should. Whereas women, they share the keys to the kingdom with other women about things that are coming up, like being perimenopausal, like the purpose of an ablation, all of these things that you find, you've got this huge group of people that you can talk to about it. But I don't think that as men, we've gotten to the point of where we are good about we're like, oh, I got to get a colonoscopy.
You know who I wish could hear us talking like this right now? Those women who were in that Pilates class that we went to that day, just because they could find out how evolved we are.
Yeah, they were not impressed with us.
They were not happy when we were there.
Yeah,
I felt like such an intruder.
Oh, we had imposter syndrome 100%, right? Like, boy.
Yeah.
Well, it just goes to show we are getting better all the time, you and I, right? We're evolving. We're becoming better people. I know that I am, there was on my radio show, we have these healthcare professionals who come in once a month, and they added a couple years ago, a gynecologist. And the joke was like, oh, well, JJ, you can just sit there and like read a magazine during this hour. And I said, well, actually, I've got questions that I would like to ask to be better informed, as a male as well. And it became the type of thing where I really feel like I kind of did a service by asking questions and bringing things up to be a more knowledgeable partner in those ways, to where I'm like, if you've got a question, you don't have to be a female to ask this. Like, if you want to better understand what's going on with your partner, with your daughter, with your mother, you can text in. And we started getting people who texted in and asking questions, specifically saying like, oh, I'd like to know about this because I take care of like my elderly grandmother And the nurse has informed me that she is still spotting, and I'm concerned, about these things. And so I think just the more information that people can have and the more educated that we can be about the world as a whole, it's good for us all. And I know that those topics can be cringy at first, and like it's a tough band-aid to pull off, but remember, there was somebody pooping in a bucket who's like, there's got to be a world better than this. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. I used to be a Daphne guy, but now I'm all about Velma, and it's not because she wears glasses. It's because she wears a turtleneck.